Hello everyone, welcome to Pratham Test Prep. I am Ashish Bhargav and welcome to another session of daily news analysis. As you know that newspaper is very important, right? Newspaper को आपको कैसे करना है and all that we have already discussed कि आपको एग्जाम में क्या क्या चीज़ें we need to keep in mind and I hope that you guys are doing well. आप सारे अच्छे होंगे. So newspaper analysis is very important irrespective of the exam you are preparing for. और सबसे पहले आपको चीज़ें देखनी की न्यूज़पेपर में कि आपकी क्या क्या चीज़ें एग्ज़ाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है. चलो सो वी स्टार्ट. और न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस हम क्या क्या चीज़ें डिस्कस करते हैं. बेसिकली वी डिस्कस अबाउट ऑल द इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द न्यूज़पेपर. लाइक वी डिस्कस अबाउट द इकोनॉमी बेस्ड न्यूज़, like we discuss about international news, we discuss about sports based news, science and tech, personal news, summits and conference, miscellaneous, and apart from that we also discuss about Supreme Court verdict, which is very important, any amendments, any bills, which is very important especially for the law entrance exam. So as we know that the newspaper analysis is very important because most of the current affairs sources is the newspaper, right? And being a student you should prepare about, and this is our new initiative, weekly current affairs, and nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending. और हियर आई एज आई टोल्ड यू कि न्यूज़पेपर में सारी चीज़ें आपकी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट बिकॉज जो भी एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है दैट वी विल डिस्कस इन द न्यूज़पेपर एनालिसिस. एंड वी हैव टेकन इनिशिएटिव क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द डे. एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन विल आस्क यू 5 क्वेश्चंस दैट वुड बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर एग्जाम perspective. And here is the very first news we talk about is Ashwani Vaishnav unveils India's first 3D post office in Bangalore. It was built in 43 days. और इंडिया का फर्स्ट ये हमारा 3D प्रिंटेड पोस्ट ऑफिस है दैट वाज इनॉग्रेटेड इन बेंगलुरु. एंड ये जो फर्स्ट 3D पोस्ट ऑफिस है इज़ नाउ ओपन फॉर बिजनेसेस, मतलब ये लोगों के लिए ओपन हो चुका है. और फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी नीड टू कीप इन माइंड कि ये 3D टेक्नोलॉजी वाली जो आपकी है ये क्या होती है. 3 डायमेंशनल विच मीन्स 3D प्रिंटिंग एक additive manufacturing process in which a physical object is created from a digital design by printing thin layers of materials and then fusing them together. So the 3D printing technology is fast emerging technologies and इसके applications हैं. 3D printing is widely used in the world. It is increasingly used for the mass customization and production of any type of open source designs in the field of agriculture, in healthcare, in automotive industry, in the locomotive industry and the aviation industry. And it can print an object layer by layer deposition of material directly from a computer aided design, यानी कि CAD मॉडल का हम यूज़ करते हैं इसमें. और it is available of various segments such as affordable housing, G+3 floors and military barracks, single floor schools, warehousing, accommodation and villas. इन सब में ये important है. उसके बाद आपका आता है नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल विच वी टॉक अबाउट द भक्ति मूवमेंट्स. तो सबसे पहले आपको ये जानना होगा कि हाउ द भक्ति मूवमेंट्स फ्लोरिश्ड अंडर द मुगल्स टाइम. At the recent rally in the Madhya Pradesh, the PM Modi made a link between the 14th century social reformers and Bhakti Saint Ravidas and Mughals. While laying the foundation stones of the temple dedicated to Ravidas, Modi praised him for holding his ground and showing courage to fight against the oppressive rules of the Mughal Empire. And in that times, the placing Ravidas in the context of the Mughals is interesting because it is often forgotten or rather ignored that the Bhakti tradition, which was Ravidas belongs, emerged and even flourished in the large parts of the northern India at a time of coincided with the Muslim rule in the subcontinent. Although हम बात करें अगर भक्ति मूवमेंट्स के बारे में, that we talk about the भक्ति मूवमेंट्स, फिर इसमें इस टाइम में the common time was a सन्यासी revolt also. So the Bhakti movement the first emerged in the Tamil South between the 6th and 9th century. ये सबसे पहले हुआ था 6th to 9th century के बीच में, 9th century, and it has spread to northern India during the Sultanate and Mughal period. As historians have noted, not only did the Bhakti movement in the northern carry influence of the culture introduced by the Muslim rulers, बट इनफैक्ट अगर हम इन चीज़ों को जानने की कोशिश करें, इट वॉज फ्लॉरिश टू अ लार्जर एक्सटेंट, एंड उस टाइम में वी शुड से थैंक्स टू द पॉलिटिको administrative structure that was envisaged under the sultanate and we can say Mughal rulers. एक बुक थी उस टाइम में, a genealogy of devotion, a genealogy of devotion, that was Bhakti, Tantam, Yoga and Sufism in Northern India 2019 में, एंड उसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें हमने बताई थी और उसको लिखी थी पैट्रॉन बर्शेट ने, a scholar of religious studies, and has argued that the bhakti of northern India was one influenced by the values, right, institutions and perspective of Persian literary and political culture of one hand and by popular Sufism on others. One more thing that we need to keep in mind, यहाँ पे historians ने explain किया कि bhakti provided the wonderful solution in medieval India society wherein the rulers were Muslim and majority population were Hindus. The Muslim state, he suggested, benefited quite quite a large emergence of bhakti, and that Islam brought a totally different concept of God and his worship. So जो आपका हेड होता था, जिसे हम उस टाइम में कहते थे मुखिया, so मुखिया noted that the affinity that Muslim rulers held the bhakti tradition is evidence from the fact that Akbar's religious policy of सुलह कुल, अकबर की रिलीजियस पॉलिसी थी सुलह कुल, विच मीन्स दैट यूनिवर्सल पीस, उसका मतलब हो गया आपका यूनिवर्सल पीस. एंड अकबर के कोर्ट में उसका जो हिस्टोरियंस था अबुल फजल, दैट इज नोन टू हैव पेड ग्रेट ट्रिब्यूट टू कबीर इन हिज राइटिंग, ही इज अ फैक्ट डज नॉट टॉक टू अल्लाह और मुहम्मद इन हिज राइटिंग, ही रादर अडॉप्ट्स द सेम रिलीजियस formula of universal God as a proclaimed by Kabir and prefers to term like we can say ilah in his work, where means the divinity. Now we move to the next article. यहाँ पे आपका है ब्रिक्स कंट्री के बारे में. बहुत ये सेम आर्टिकल बहुत बार डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, नॉट एग्जैक्टली द सेम आर्टिकल, बेसिकली ब्रिक्स के बारे में. So will India and China have the opportunity to have bilateral talks on the line of actual control dispute, जिसे हम कहते हैं LAC, और आपका बेसिक पता होना चाहिए कि LAC and LOC के बारे में, line of actual control और line of control, line of actual control, line of control, and how will fruitful discussions have a bearing on the G20 summits in Delhi next month? Will Russian President Vladimir Putin attend the meeting? So all the eyes this week on the Johannesburg as the leader of the Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa grouping, जिसे कहते हैं ब्रिक्स, and that was hosted by the South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa. So BRIC is essentially a movement of emerging economies. Essentially क्या था हमारा? That was the purpose of emerging economies. And why the 15th BRIC summit is important? Just a second. So why the 15th BRICS summit is important? Because BRICS summit comes at an important geopolitical and geo-economic moment. This is the first in-person summit since 2019 and the COVID-19 pandemic. Even in 2022, the COVID had reached, and a remnant of the pandemic remained in China. And यहाँ पे what is it for India का इसमें क्या रोल होगा? So for India, the BRICS summit carries special importance, and this is the first in-person summit since the military standoff with China, the line of actual control that was begun in 2020. The Prime Minister Modi will face to face the President Xi Jinping थे BRICS meet में, while they have attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summits in the Samarkand. And if you talk about BRICS summits, they will be in the very small group of four with President Putin attending virtually. So who will be there? President Xi Jinping also in South Africa for a separate bilateral state visit, while Mr. Modi will club the BRIC travel with a visit to Greece on his way back to Delhi. So इसमें जो साउथ अफ्रीका है that has invited 55 members to the African Union AU to the event of about 20 other leaders from Asia, South America and small island states who represents the global south for session of the sidelines of the summit. What is the big item on the agendas? गोल्डमन सैश पेपर ने ग्रुपिंग की थी ऑफ फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग डेवलपिंग इकोनॉमीज नॉट इन द G7 BRIC nations held their first summit in 2009 and it inducted South Africa in 2010. So what else is expected to be discussed? So although a much touted plan that was pushing to BRICS currency to challenge the dollar does not appear to be on the agenda. और इसमें हम सबसे पहले बात करेंगे ग्लोबल डेवलपमेंट इनिशिएटिव GDD के बारे में एज अ पार्ट ऑफ इकोनॉमी रोड मैप फॉर द ब्रिक्स कंट्री. नेक्स्ट, हाउ इज SC tackling gender stereotyping? What are the new guidelines on the use of words and phrases to describe women and their issues for both lawyers and judges? How do harmful stereotypes perpetuate inequalities? What are some of the judgments which do away with the gender norms? सो अभी रिसेंटली सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नाम चेंज किया है इसके ऊपर, जो उसके आपके सेशन के एंड में विल टेल यू कि इसमें क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं. सो डिस्कार्डिंग आर्किक आइडियाज ऑफ द पैट्रियार्कल ओवरटोन्स, particularly while describing women in their issues, the Supreme Court of India has released a set of new words and phrases to be used by both lawyers and judges in courts in his Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud writes, and the handbook on the combating gender stereotypes. What are some of the changes? So, to avoid the use of harmful gender stereotypes in judicial decision making and writing, the handbook identifies language that promotes such stereotypes and offers new words. For the example, under the guidelines, it would be incorrect to say adulterers. Instead, the following words have to use women who has engaged in sexual relation outside the marriage. That is not to be a adulteress. So it is no longer to prefix chash or obedient before woman and wife. So how should sexual violence be looked at? The handbook says the individual who has been affected by sexual violence may identify as either a survivor or victim. So stressing on consent, the guidelines for the guidelines and it has been affected by sexual violence may identify as either a survivor or a victim. So a man who touches a woman without her consent must not be permitted to take the defense that his woman invited his touch by dressing a particular way. और इससे women के empowerment के लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये decision that we should praise on that. So why are stereotypes harmful? So on a micro level, the handbook states that the stereotype lead to exclusion and discrimination at the workplace, education institutions and public estates. Compare this to what the Minister of State for Education, Subhas Sarkar, informed Parliament recently. He had provided data for over 225,000 reserved category students from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other backward classes and other minority groups drop out of Central University and the Indian Institute of Technology over the last 5 years. Now, the issue is not about India's GDP but its JDP. इसमें आपने देखा होगा कि that participating in the debate on the motion of no confidence in Parliament last week, Finance Minister जो हमारी है निर्मला सीतारमण जी, that was vexed eloquent about India's gross domestic product and that growing in double digits, the Indian economy being in the world fastest, and also highlighted glowing reports by foreign institutions such as International Monetary Fund and Morgan Stanley. So the issue is job potential. So if India's economy is growing so rapidly, then why is the demand for minimum wage work under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which is known to be a MG नरेगा. सो ये जो हमारा है MG नरेगा, महात्मा गांधी National Rural Employment Guarantee Act schemes that also for growing so fast. And after all, only those who have absolutely no alternative source of income will ask to toil in the sun and whole day to for bare minimum wages. Ever since the Modi government took office, India's real GDP has grown to 5.3% annual, but demand for MG workers grew at 5.4% every year. So clearly, we can say there is a big dissonance between GDP growth and its translation into actual jobs and income for people. Further, even the jobs that are being created trend to the exacerbated India's social fissures. People from higher caste constitute nearly three quarters of the formal service sector jobs that GDP growth produced, while 80% of workers in the MG programs are from the oppressed caste of Dalits, tribals and backward caste. So the माइंस एंड मिनरल्स बिल्स जो हमारा इंडिया का अभी रिसेंटली पास हुआ था, जिसके बारे में हमने बहुत पहले डिस्कस की थी न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में इसी सेशन में. So in this context, Modi government will new mines and minerals development and regulation amendment bill 2023 and the MMA bills that can be potential booster shot in India's economic arm if administered properly. The world is in the midst of inevitable transition to electric modify, while electronic chips and equipment are the key to the transition. The fountainhead for this change are minerals such as lithium, cobalt, graphite and other rare earth matter. So obvious that इसमें हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्योंकि JDP की बात हो रही है इसमें. जो deposits हैं that below the earth has mined even less with a coastline that is 7,000 kilometers long, and India's potential is finding rich strategic minerals can be greater through deep sea mining. Now we can say we go to the next article. Restore make power towers their home. अभी बात हो रही है 4G and 5G की. उस केस में white will see that eagles in India are beginning to emulate their counterparts in Australia and Thailand by making their homes on power towers holding high tension wires. और ये जो आप इसमें पिक्चर देख रहे होंगे कि white will see eagle nets on the power line tower at रामंतपुरम in तमिलनाडु. इससे ऑब्वियस सी बात है यहाँ पे जो बर्ड्स की सिक्योरिटी है वो भी कंसर्न है, और जो स्टडी पब्लिश हुई थी उसमें भी ये चीज़ मेंशन की गई थी, कंजर्वेशन फॉर द दैट बर्ड्स एंड द ये एक लीस्ट कंसर्न है ऑन द रेड लिस्ट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल यूनियन फॉर कंजर्वेशन ऑफ नेचर विच इज़ IUCN. Central imposed 40% duty on the onion export. इस आर्टिकल में आपको ये समझनी है कि यहाँ पे नाफेड का रोल क्या है, एंड जो बात हो रही अनियन एक्सपोर्ट्स की उसमें हमारे वर्ल्ड में क्या रैंकिंग है, इंडिया में कौन कौन से स्टेट्स हैं, तो इसको समझते हैं. देखो इंडिया जो है बच्चे आपका सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट ओनियन ग्रोइंग कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. द इंडियन ओनियंस आर फेमस फॉर देयर पंचेंसी एंड अवेलेबल राउंड इन द ईयर. और मेजर आपका आप जो ओनियन प्रोड्यूसिंग स्टेट्स है महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटका, मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात, बिहार, आंध्रा, राजस्थान, हरियाणा एंड तेलंगाना. और महाराष्ट्र जो है द लीडिंग प्रोड्यूसर विद शेयर अराउंड 43%, मध्य प्रदेश 16, Karnataka and Gujarat contributing around 9% of the national production. So there is a lot of demand for Indian onion in the world. The country exported 15,37,496 million ton of fresh onion to the world, and major export destination जो है आपका वो है बांग्लादेश, मलेशिया, श्रीलंका, यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट्स, नेपाल एंड इंडोनेशिया. So onion जो है आपका onion that can be temperate crop but can be grown under a wide range of climatic condition such as temperate, tropical and subtropical climate. The best performance can be obtained in a mild weather without the extremes of cold and heat and excessive rainfall. Onion that can be grown in all types of soil such as sandy loam, clay loam, silt loam and heavy soils. However, the best soil for successful onion cultivation is deep, friable loams and alluvial soil with good drainage, moisture holding capacity and sufficient organic matter. The world of sugar इसमें इस टाइप के सिमिलर आर्टिकल्स को हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, ठीक है. जेंडर स्टीरियोटाइपिंग वी हैव डिस्कस्ड. ये वर्ड्स हैं इस पे, दैट वाज इनकरेक्ट. अब ऑल्टरनेटिव लैंग्वेज यूज़ किया गया है. वुमेन हु वाज एंगेज इन सेक्सुअल रिलेशन आउटसाइड द मैरिज, अफेयर विच मीन्स रिलेशनशिप आउटसाइड मैरिज, बास्टर्ड विच मीन्स नॉन मार्शल चाइल्ड और चाइल्ड हुज पेरेंट्स वर नॉट मैरिड, सेक्स असाइंड एट बर्थ. ये लैंग्वेज आपको स्पेशली फॉर द लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जाम में आपको देखनी चाहिए. ट्रांससेक्सुअल मतलब ट्रांसजेंडर कहेंगे, और सेक्स चेंज को हम कहेंगे सेक्स रीअसाइनमेंट. नाउ वी गो टू द क्वेश्चंस ऑफ द डे, और ये हमारा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है आज का. Which one of the following amendments to the Constitution has lowered the voting age of elections to the Lok Sabha and the legislative assemblies to state from 21 years से लेके 18 years? उस अमेंडमेंट कौन सा अमेंडमेंट था जिसमें ये चीज़ें चेंजेस की गई? 47, 52, 61 एंड 69. ऑब्वियस का आंसर है आपका ऑप्शन सी. Our parliamentary panel has suggested lowering the minimum age for contesting an assembly election from 25 years to 18 years. 61st Amendment of the Constitution of India, officially known as the Constitution 61st Amendment Act 1988, and that lowered the voting age of elections to the Lok Sabha and the Legislative Assembly of a state from 21 years to लेके 18 years. नेक्स्ट है आपका यहाँ पे विवाद से विश्वास स्कीम समटाइम्स इन न्यूज़ इज किससे रिलेटेड है? पेंशन स्कीम्स फॉर व्यापारीज, पार्शियल क्रेडिट गारंटी फॉर एनबीएफसीज नॉन बैंकिंग फाइनेंशियल कॉर्पोरेशन, डायरेक्ट टैक्स डिस्प्यूट रिजोल्यूशन एंड एनहांस लोन अवेलेबिलिटी फॉर एक्सपोर्टर्स. C is the right answer. So Vivad se Vishwas 2.0 schemes has been launched by the Department of Expenditure, which comes in the Ministry of Finance, with the aim of resolving contractual disputes involving the government and government undertakings. Unified Payment System, ये जो आपका UPI है, has been developed by the किसके? RBI, NIC, NPCI, नीति. Right answer is National Payment Corporation of India, NPCI. So Unified Payment System UPI powers multiple bank accounts into a single mobile applications of any participating bank, merging several banking features like instant transfer of funds, bill sharing facilities, and it has been developed by National Payment Corporation of India. उसके बाद है आपका दिस वन, द लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल दैट सेपरेट्स इंडियन कंट्रोल टेरिटरी फ्रॉम चाइनीज कंट्रोल टेरिटरी पासिस थ्रू विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेट और स्टेट्स? लद्दाख, सिक्किम, उत्तराखंड, हिमाचल प्रदेश एंड अरुणाचल प्रदेश, ऑल ऑफ द अबव स्टेट. ये आपके आंसर चारों ऑल ऑफ द अबव स्टेट्स हैं. LAC लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल दैट सेपरेट्स इंडियन कंट्रोल टेरिटरी फ्रॉम चाइनीज कंट्रोल टेरिटरी. ये डिवाइड करता है आपका ईस्टर्न सेक्टर अरुणाचल प्रदेश एंड सिक्किम, मिडिल सेक्टर आपका उत्तराखंड एंड हिमाचल, एंड वेस्टर्न सेक्टर आपका लद्दाख है. वैसे जब आपको इंडिया और चाइना का था, इसका मैकमोहन लाइन था, और इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के लिए आपका था रेड क्लिफ लाइन इनिशियली. सो ईस्टर्न सेक्टर जो था आपका अलॉन्ग विद द मैकमोहन लाइन, which takes its name from Sir Henry McMahon, Foreign Secretary थे British India के, who drew the 890 kilometer line as the border between British India and Tibet at the 1914 Shimla Convention between Great Britain, China and Tibet. And here we reach the last questions. Which of the following statements about mosquitoes is true? Mosquitoes are arachnids. Only female mosquitoes bites humans and animals. Mosquitoes primarily feed on plants, and mosquitoes are not vectors for any disease. So इसका right answer है option B. Only female mosquitoes bite humans and animals. And so the correct answer is only female mosquitoes, not arachnids. So they are in the order Diptera, which means two wings. So arachnids, which means on the other hand, are in the order arachnids, which means without wings. Both male and female mosquitoes feed on plant nectar, but only female mosquitoes bite humans and animals. Female mosquitoes need the protein from blood to develop their eggs, and mosquitoes are vector from many diseases including malaria, dengue, yellow fever, Zika virus. And mosquitoes are attracted to CO2, heat and moisture. They are not attracted to fire or candles. So the answer is B option. So the dear student, this is all about the session. अगर आप इस चैनल पर न्यू हैं तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब द चैनल and do not forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. And if you have any questions regarding this session, please let me know in the comment section, and please share this video to your friends so that they will get advantage of this. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining with us. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. Till then, bye bye, take care, अपना ख्याल रखें and सुरक्षित रहें. Bye bye and take care once again.